Welcome to Fix It Friday, and today we're going to look at this question about Group 2 metals. Really easy to use the wrong language and miss important points, especially since this question is worth 4 marks. So the first thing we want to do is not bother repeating any information that is already given in the question. There is no point saying that barium is more reactive than calcium, so we can cross that right off. Let's have a look at the next thing they've said. It is bigger. Okay, so one main problem with this is that we've mentioned two things previously in the sentence, barium and calcium. We could probably get away with the fact that the examiner would assume that we're talking about barium. However, it is not specific enough anyway, because what is it about barium that is actually bigger? So what we should be saying is that barium has a larger atomic radius, or you can simply say that it has bigger atoms than calcium. Okay, now let's look at the next part. So again, it's this whole point of getting the right idea, but not getting it down clearly enough to be awarded the marks. The question says, the electrons are further from the nucleus. So if I was marking this, I would be putting that symbol, which suggests that we have missed an important word. So not all of barium's electrons are further from the nucleus than calcium's. We want to be specifically talking about the outer electrons are further from the nucleus. However, so far we've still only got 1 mark. Well, why is that? Because often students will write, larger atomic radius. This means that the electrons are further from the nucleus, or the outer electrons. Problem is, they're the same point. So the whole idea, the radius depends on the position of the outer shell. And so therefore, I've already said that the outer electrons are further from the nucleus by saying it has a larger atomic radius. So how do I get the rest of the points? Well, they've then moved straight on to the pull, which of course we're never going to say pull, we're going to use the word attraction. And easier to remove, we might get away with that, but let's see what we're missing, because we're still missing some points, and also how we're going to maybe level up our language here. So we've talked about distance. We should also always talk about charge when we are trying to discuss the attraction between a nucleus and the outer shell electrons. So what can we say about charge? Well, barium has actually got a higher nuclear charge. It's further down the group. But, so we're going to say that is larger. But what else increases down the group? So as well as the distance between the nucleus and the outer electrons, there are far more shells of electrons in between, or at least in the case of barium and calcium, there are 2 more shells of electrons in between. They're quite large shells of electrons because they're containing d subshells. So we have more shielding. So shielding is an important point, and this shielding is enough to counteract the higher nuclear charge. Now we can say less attraction, and we're going to say between the nucleus and outer electrons. And it's okay to say their electrons are therefore easier to move for the 4th mark. Even better, and will certainly help when you get questions which also relate to ionization energy rather than reactivity, is if you remember the real reason. Let's not say easier to remove, let's say that has lower brackets, first and second. So I'm being really super specific here. You probably wouldn't have to put that. Ionization energies, i.e. relate it to energy. Put so much detail in there, I almost ran out of space. Remember, If you're looking for more practice, particularly on how to really get some good A-level technique in your exam questions, have a look at my online A-level masterclasses and see if you can get booked on. I'm fully booked for Saturdays, I think, but there's another one on the 26th of March, which is looking at redox and acid-base reactions.